Just a lot of hair today. It is so big because I keep all my Hoya secrets in there. That's a Mean Girls reference?
That little one? That's Gretchen Wieners.
She's totally rich because her dad invented toaster strudel.
Gretchen Wieners knows everybody's business. She knows everything about everyone.
That's why her hair is so big. It's full of secrets.
That's not better. Potentially better. Is it though? Anyways, we're just not going to dwell on it, is what we are going to do today. So, this feels naked. Not literally. That would be quite disturbing. It's... what's the other word? Metaphorically. That's the one. That's the word we're searching for. As you can see, I am missing my glasses, and that is because I sat on them yesterday. Completely. Because, in the past I have also sat on them partially, and they were okay. But this was like a full-on sitting on the glasses. Didn't take to that well, no. On the bright side, they didn't break, but they are quite bent, and I don't really know if they can repair them. This is completely not plant related, clearly. We will find out in a couple of days if they can be repaired, or I will need to, I guess, allocate my Hoya money to new glasses, to a new pair of glasses. That's a terrifying thought, isn't it? That's not the only thing that happened. This is a video that, it's titled My Hoyasinbloom, or whatever I decided in the end for the title to be, but the actual title should probably be I f***ed up, so here we are. However, I don't feel that would do all that well in search, so we gotta change that up a bit. What I had planned for today is something that I have planned for a month. I planned to make a Hoya propagation video. I had a Hoya sale this month, and I have been postponing this Hoya sale since February, so to speak, because I had some cuttings of my aeroids to sell then, and I was working on rearranging my Hoyas after February, and I just never had the time to actually sit down and to take recording of me cutting down the plants. I wanted to do a video showing you how I select which part of the plant I will cut and which part of the plant is maybe not so good to cut at a specific moment, right? So I thought this would be very useful for people looking to propagate their own Hoyas and for people buying cuttings to see what's a good cutting, what's maybe not particularly a good cutting. And all of that happened, it took me a couple of months. And, and this is turning into a very long story, so if you want to continue listening, please do. If not, I will put a chapter where the Hoya blooms start. But anyways, I had people asking me since February when am I going to have Hoya cuttings for sale, and I kept postponing it because I really wanted to record this video. And finally, on March 27th, I did it. I finally took some cuttings of my plants. I mounted my camera onto the ceiling, actually, because I used to have a Hoya latifolia hanging, and there is still a piece of chain there. So I actually zip-tied my camera in a very unsafe situation, so I could record myself potting the cuttings and explaining to you why I took some cuttings and why I decided not to take some cuttings. Anyways, all of that was great. The cuttings have rooted, and I yesterday recorded the second part of that video, which is showing you that they rooted. Or actually, it wasn't yesterday, it was 2 days ago, or even 3 days ago, because after I recorded that video, I had to pack them and send them, and I think they are arriving today, so I think it was 2 days ago when I recorded. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I recorded the update. I don't think I need to show you the update now, it doesn't make sense to show you, because what happened is I lost the footage of the first part. So I lost this entire vital part of my video that I have been postponing for like 2 months, in which I show you what cuttings to take, what cuttings not to take, and showing you how I planted those cuttings. All of that is lost. It's not the first time that I lose the footage. You get busy, you forget that you transferred something or that you didn't transfer something, and you occasionally have to wipe the memory card in the camera, and I think by accident I deleted this footage. So all I have is showing you my 4 prop boxes, and maybe I will show you some b-roll. I had 4 or 5 prop boxes filled with Hoya cuttings. I think I had slightly over 60 cuttings that I rooted, and most of them I rooted in a mix of cocoa peat and perlite. And the reason why I wanted to show you this is because I think it's just a great method to root Hoya cuttings, especially if you're going to sell them. It's a mix that a lot of people are familiar with. Not everyone is familiar with pon or with semi-hydro or, bark and moss or just moss. But most of the people who are into plants are familiar with cocoa peat and perlite. It's a very universal mix, I would say. And it works great for rooting Hoya cuttings. I think only a couple of them I didn't root in that mix, and those are my 2 undulatas. Yes, I did cut 2 more cuttings for my Hoya undulata, one for my friend Carolina, and that one is still actually with me. The other one is for another friend here in Serbia. So I so far took 3 cuttings of my Hoya undulata. Anyways, none of that matters. Now I lost the footage, so you're not going to see that Hoya propagation. I can tell you though that every single cutting rooted, and it is a great method, and you will have to wait just a bit more. I guess I will have to take a look at my plants, see what I can cut, or because I will be ordering some plants from Sweden, I may root those. I'm not going to root them in water, which was my go-to method in the past. I'm not going to do that. I find now that the best method for me is to just put them in a mix that I intend to grow them in. So I might actually show that. So anyways, that's that story of why you're seeing what you're seeing. So why you're seeing me without the glasses, which I know it's like
Seeing a dog walk on its hind legs.
and then why you're not seeing the video that I told you in my previous video that you will see, which is Hoya propagation. I will instead show you Hoyas in bloom, and I don't think you should complain about that, okay? Hoyas in bloom are wonderful. I will show you some Hoyas that are blooming for the first time, and I will show you some other plants, other new plants that I got. So that's going to be the video today. I'm not going to be mad. Actually, I'm going to be mad for quite a long time that I messed up and that we don't have the footage, but I'll get over it eventually. So first, I will start with 2 cuttings that I received today. I received them in an exchange with a Hoya friend here. The first one is Hoya melliflua, and I don't have Hoya melliflua. You can see the cutting here. It's a nice cutting. Very nice green leaves, I would say. And this is the mother plant of Silver Dollar, and because, Silver Dollar is a bit expensive, I can at least have this. I think I traded a cutting of Species Affinity Bertonia for this. And then she also sent me Hoya excavata, which is this cutting here. And she doesn't know yet. Well, by the time this video is up, she will know. I think I sent a cutting of Benvengarai pronunciation there. So I'm going to pot these in pon, and I'm going to put them in propagation box. I'm not going to root them in water. I'm not going to do anything special for them. They have been cut yesterday possibly, so the cutting is, there's no sap. So I'm just going to plant them in the small plastic cups, or these are actual pots, and yeah, put them in propagation boxes. And this has been my go-to method if I intend to grow a plant in pon or in a mix of cocoa peat, perlite, and pumice, because the transition will be very easy. And there is really nothing to this method. And once again, I'm not wearing gloves. I just put some pon in there. I put the cutting, and then I finish off with pon. And this is my DIY pon. I mentioned last time that I kind of messed up ordering larger sized pumice, but this is the good size. And you can see I still have larger pieces here, which I'm fine with. They are somewhat comparable with the lava rock. So the brown one is lava rock. Zeolite is much smaller, the zeolite that I have, but I think this is just a slightly bigger granulation than lechuza pon. And I'm liking this mix. I think it's a good mix. So anyways, I'm going to just finish up potting this cutting. and then I'm gonna show it to you. Sometimes it's not quite possible to cut a larger cutting. So in this case, I know that's what happened. And what I do in that case is I just pot it a bit deeper. And honestly, I have never experienced rot by putting a cutting a bit deeper. I know some people say they have. I haven't. So this is Hoya. This day is about testing me, isn't it? Isn't it? It's about testing me. Now we're going to be smarter. I'm going to hold the cutting. So you can see Hoya excavata, and because I actually have the labels, because I bought them, I'm going to add them to this pot. I'm going to write what Hoya it is, when I got it. So I need to look up the date. I think it's like April. It's April, actually that's it. It's April 2022. We don't need the exact day, thankfully, because I don't really know. And I'm going to write who I got it from, because I like to keep track of those things. So give me a moment. You don't see, but we have the name, Hoya excavata. On the back of the tag, I just write April 2022 and F to indicate who I got it from, F, and then the name of the person. Anyways, we have things under control. Oh my goodness. We wrote a tag. I don't usually do tags right away. The next one is going to be easier to pot. It is Hoya multiflora. It's this cutting here. We have a bit more stem, so that's not going to be a challenge. Okay, you can see Hoya multiflora here, and I'm just going to add the tag. Those are the two cuttings that I got today, and they're going to get watered. I'm going to rinse the pond a bit under the sink, regular tap water, nothing special, and then I'm going to put them in propagation box and forget about them for the next 2 weeks at least. That's how I operate. I have 8 Hoyas here that are in bloom, I think, if I counted them correctly. You have seen some of these before, so enjoy. I will show you some of the other ones budding up, and those are the ones that we are going to see in bloom for the first time. There are a couple of plants here, I think, that I have never shown to you in bloom, so enjoy. So let's start with the one that is most recent, and in order to do that, I need to get to it. So the most recent one is stuck. This is the one that opened most recently. It is absolutely one of my favorites. I don't know if you can see the color on those leaves. This is Hoya walliniana, or actually species affinity walliniana UT152. I got it as species affinity walliniana, and it gets these really lovely reddish leaves under higher light. This plant was in my Mars Hydro tent while I had the Hoya tent. I am growing my aeroids in there now, and it really sun-stressed beautifully, and I thought once I take it out of the tent that will disappear, because, you know, sometimes when you put Hoya in less light, that sun-stressed and very high light, she will lose it. But apparently this is a plant that sun stresses easily, because I do have some new growth, like here. This grew outside of the tent. If my great camera would focus. Absolutely not. So you can see there, that's also very sun stressed, and I'm going to tell you it grows on top of this Millsbo cabinet. I do have 2 100-watt Mars Hydro lights on the opposite sides of that wall, I guess, and it continued to grow really well. So it seems to me that it doesn't need very high light to sun stress, which is great. We love that. It has been a very unproblematic Hoya. I've had it since, I think, November of 2021, and she has grown really nicely. I actually took a cutting of this plant for this most recent plant sale, because some people wanted it, and it's growing really well, so I thought, why not? But anyways, you're not here to see that, are you? You are here to see the cute flowers And I don't know if that is visible. Let's try a bit better. Eek. So those are the flowers. They have a red center, and the flower itself, it's a bit creamish. It's not pure white for sure. It's nothing like Hoya lacunosa. It's more cream color. And when I smelled it this morning, it kind of smelled like fermented fruit in a way. Now it doesn't smell like anything. It's a very cute flower when you see it in person, and I will insert B-roll because, well, we know that my camera doesn't want to focus on things. And I see it's producing another peduncle right here. So I don't really know if I'm going to be able to make a video on it, but at the end of that vine, there is a peduncle. There we go. You can kind of see that peduncle. I'm so sorry for the awkward angles. It's just difficult to hold a Hoya and to hide your face because cameras, they focus on faces. I would really recommend that if you don't have it, that you get it. You will not be disappointed, for sure. I think I'm just gonna try to make you get all of these today. But yeah, you will not be disappointed by this one. The next Hoya that bloomed, it actually made me cry. I'm not gonna even lie about it. I never thought I was gonna be able to get that Hoya to bloom. I just need to move this one aside. I was so happy to see it, and if you follow me on Instagram, which you maybe should, I don't know, decide on that yourself. This is Hoya Lee. And I got Hoya Lee from Carolina, I think it was in May of 2021. And I actually thought I had this plant for much longer. I thought I had it for at least 2 years. Clearly not, because I checked several days ago and it's actually from the May of 2021. This Hoya bloomed, as you can tell, and it's going to bloom on another peduncle, so I actually might make a video on it, because I would really love to. You can see that flower is absolutely gorgeous. It is, if not my favorite Hoya flower. I love it. This is what the entire plant looks like. It grows in the back on that Hoya wall, also under Mars Hydrolite. And this is, I think, 5th day or 6th even. So, and I see that the flowers are fading a bit, so I think probably it lasts for about a week. Now this is a special clone from what I know of Hoya Lee. It's unlike Hoya Lee from China. It has very stiff leaves, very, very stiff and very, very hairy. And I heard it's a bit more difficult to flower, which I can definitely tell you it is true for me at least. It is very easy for this Hoya to produce peduncles, and it will bud up very easily. The issue is, it buds up, and after 3 or 4 days, the buds fall off. They start to grow a bit and they're like, nope, done. And that has been my experience with this plant. It was under my 36 watt LED light on the shelf when I used to have my Omer shelves here in the window. Nothing happened. Then I had it on the Hoya wall, which I took down under, again, regular LED lights. Then someone told me that it doesn't want to bloom under LED lights, so I put it in the window. Nothing happened, and it didn't bloom until I put it on that wall. You can interpret that as you will. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm just, saying it bloomed as soon as I moved it to that wall under true grow lights. And I'm very happy it did. Once again, I'm going to show you. I actually took some great photos, if I can say so myself, of this flower. So you can see her. And I think we need to do a thumbnail with this Hoya. The next one that I promised many times I will make a video on it, and I still haven't, is Hoya kanyakumariana. And this plant, my gosh, this has to be the 5th time or 6th time that it bloomed. I also got it from Carolina in May of 2021, so the same time like Hoya Lee, and it bloomed for the first time in December, I believe, of this year. And you can just see the flower. It's very beautiful. It is smaller than Hoya Lee. Let's see if my camera will work enough to focus on those two. Oh, maybe it's focusing. You can see how they compare in size. I'll try to take some additional photos. Now, Hoya kanyakumariana doesn't last for a very long time. In my experience, only 4 days or so, and then they start to fall off. I think these are quite ready to go soon as well. But it blooms, it's a very prolific bloomer. Right now I see 1, 2, 4 more peduncles, 5, 6, oh wow, 6 more peduncles budding up. So that's great. It's a fantastic grower. I also took a couple of cuttings of this one for the Hoya sale, and I absolutely love this growth pattern, structure, whatever you want to call it. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the most beautiful small-leaved Hoyas. I love the shape of the leaf. They're very soft. It's a not very difficult Hoya to find. I think it's borderline very common, but it's a beautiful plant to have. It doesn't matter if it's common, if you can find it in every corner, I don't care. It's beautiful. I cannot wait for this to bush out, and I think I will probably trim it because you can see how bushy it is here, and then we have these very long vines. So I think I would like to maintain this level of bush. So maybe I will take these and put them back. I don't know, I'll think about it. But you know, when you trim them, they also start to bush out. And this one is good at branching out itself. You don't really need to do a lot of trimming. With some of the Hoyas, you really need to trim them back before they start to branch out. With some of them, not so much. And I think this is one of those where you don't really have to do much. But yeah, maybe I will just cut it back to even some of these out. A Hoya that is always in bloom. It is the best Hoya in the world. It's Hoya burmanica. I, again, will never stop. Several people messaged me after my... Now you're not focusing on my face. Hello, I'm here. Woohoo. Thank you. Anyways, several people messaged me after my Hoya burmanica video, and I know that a lot of you left comments that you got this plant because of the video. Thank you for listening. You will not be disappointed. You can see how she bushed out really nicely also by itself. I did almost accidentally take a cutting the other day because it's now on my Rodsta cabinet. It was getting, I think, too much light finally in the Mills bow because it was quite high, and you can see that these parts are growing pretty vertically. They will eventually go horizontally, but I think it was getting too much light in the cabinet because I did get a couple of burns, and I told you it can take more light, and that's true, but I was just very surprised because this is more similar to Hoya pollinera. It's not like Hoya species Venti Bertoniae or walliniana or anything like that. It's quite a thin-leaved Hoya, I would say. So I wasn't expecting her to be able to withstand that much light. And I think it could stay there. It could have stayed there potentially for a bit longer, but I just decided I would like to put it in a different spot, and it looks really nice on the cabinet. Anyways, that story had a point, and the point is because this hangs of the side of my cabinet. I was opening the door and I was closing it, and I didn't notice that I closed this vine. I think like this or even like this. And I produced the most high-pitched sound I ever made in my life. Hilarious. Anyways, you can see it's just filled with flowers. I'm just gonna go a bit back so it can hopefully focus on the plant. I mean, look at that. It's just gorgeous. It has flowers everywhere. It has more peduncles everywhere. Why wouldn't you want this Hoya? This is honestly so far the best blooming Hoya that I have. Hands down. Multiflora? Hello, maybe we should rename this to Multiflora. Just saying. In my experience, it's more multifloral. The next plant I got as a gift from Camilla. I got this, gosh, did I write it down? Oh, it's also in May of 2021. Okay, I thought it was also more earlier than that. So this is from a plant from Hoya Sunrise, from her Hoya Sunrise. I think an insect pollinated it. I'm not quite sure, don't quote me on that. And she got several seed pods, and this is from one of the seeds from the seed pod. She labeled this as Hoya Sunrise CSG 18023. So it's the 23rd seedling in 2018 is what I believe it to be. So it came from Hoya Sunrise anyways. And it is different than Hoya Sunrise. It has more lacunosa-y look to me than Hoya Sunrise. You can see the flower here. It's very nice. It's possibly nothing to write home about, but it is in bloom and I thought I would show it to you. It's blending with my hand, so we will need some B-roll. It is a very fast plant to grow, very easy to grow. It didn't sun stress on the wall, on the Hoya wall, so I think I will try to expose it to a bit more light. It does sun stress a bit differently than your regular Hoya Sunrise would. It has that nice pleasant smell like Hoya Lacunosa or Hoya Sunrise, that I would say hyacinth smell. Hoya burmanica doesn't smell like anything, by the way. And I forgot to say, this Hoya, Hoya Lee, the scent is pleasant at first, but it becomes unpleasant. It's very strong. You're not going to smell it from far away, but if it's close to you, it smells like... I made a joke with a friend that it smells like one of those bathroom thingies that you put in the toilet. I think I said, maybe not necessarily Arctic Ocean, but it just has that very... Camilla says it has a detergent-y smell to it. I think possibly yes. I can't remember Hoya kanyakumariana. I think it does have a faint, pleasant smell, but I'm not really sure right now, so sorry for that. I have two more Hoyas in bloom that I wanted to show you. First is Hoya that I overwatered, which, wow, can't believe that happened, but the roots didn't die back. So I think it's actually finally properly watered, because I underwater my Hoya multifloras a lot. I'm sorry about it. I'm really sorry. And, you know, I think they should be bigger by now. And the reason why they're not bigger is, you know, I guess suspect is a wrong word. It's kind of like when you watch crime documentary and you know who the killer is. You can't say, I suspect he's the killer, you know, because they have told you so. I don't suspect that they haven't grown, because did I just compare myself to, wow. Anyways, I'm sure that they didn't grow because they didn't water them enough. They're quite slow, I think, not quite fast, because this one is from November of 2021, and I think I never cut it. I think it was about this big, so only this grew, which I don't think is admirable. This one is from May of 2021, and I think it grew only this. Let's see, that much? I don't know, not admirable, not impressed. But they're beautiful. In bloom, both are in bloom. This is my favorite clone of multiflora. It's Hoya multiflora SV406, and the flower will get orangey. I did make a video on this plant, and I will link it so you can check it out. Absolutely beautiful. They are still not orangey enough. When they all open and when several days pass, they kind of go from this yellow and they turn more orange over time, has been my experience. The next one is variegated Hoya multiflora, which you can see it's actually elbow marginated. And it's not, must you interrupt me, you rogue piece of bark. It's not a fantastic variegation. It's definitely nice. And the flower is, it's okay. I think I don't like the color of the flower as much, and you can see something, they just didn't properly form, and I think this is due to under watering. You can see they're just not really opening. I'm going to admit to you, I just recently watered these, so you know they've been without a water for more than a week. Hoya Lucky was recently in bloom. I kind of want to have all three in bloom at the same time so I can make a comparison video. I think that would be very cool. I'm getting a couple of more Hoya multifloras, or actually one more. I'm getting the splashy version, which I cannot wait to see. And I think that's that for now. I do have Hoya retusa in bloom. It's hanging up here and I didn't want to take it down, so I'm going to show you B-roll. It has a lot of flowers and it's a plant that does really, really well. And I do have several Hoyas with buds. My Hoya undulata cutting, which I can actually show you. Hold on. This is a cutting from my mother plant. I think it looks like it's from a whipped cream. It had 3 more. I think they fell off. I'm sure they fell off. You know, no one stole them. So I hope this one opens. I would like to see it in bloom. It's growing. And this is not for me. It's, again, for a friend. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely cutting. I adore it. This is not for Carolina. She gets another cutting, which, honestly, that prop box is a mess. So, and I have a lot of violets on top of it, which is the next segment of this video, I guess. I got some violets. If my camera would stop shaking, I could continue. So I got some violets. I got 1, 2, 7. I got 7 of them, and I think potentially 8. And I got some primulinas. I'm going to show you just a couple of violets. I'm not going to go through them all. I think they're not all as interesting, but there are a couple of them that are very cute. And I got some for Carolina because she wanted some violets. I'm going to show you one that I'm particularly sour that I didn't get for myself. This is NK Valentinka. It's a variegated African violet. And here we have a very strong African violet collective. And these were pretty affordable. I think they're about 2 or 3 euros. I lost all of my violets to root mealybugs, which we love. Like, they need a special dedicated playlist on this channel. So I didn't even attempt to save them. I could have taken cuttings of the leaves because these are very easy to propagate. But because I know that I can easily get them, I just, you know, didn't want to go through the trouble because I also had Hoyas to rescue at the same time, and those I cannot get hold of. The next one is Apache Skyboard, or Skybird. It says Skyboard here. This one I love because of the underside. You can see how deep purple that is, and the leaf is actually quite dark. It's variegated too. You can see some variegations, but it's quite dark. Like, compare those two. You can see the difference. It's quite deep green. It's not black. I think on camera it may look black, but it's actually just very deep green with a bit of, I guess, maroon. I don't know colors. I'm just making things up, to be quite honest now. Maroon, what's that? I don't know colors that much. This one is, I looked up the translation yesterday. I think it's a mountain lavender. It's super tiny. Like, this is the espresso cup. This is the violet. It is so tiny. You need to get it. If you find it, you need to get it. I'm going to probably kill it. Hopefully not. I actually do really well with violets. But look how tiny that is and how full that is. Like, I don't care what your opinion on African violets is. You cannot sit there and lie to my face and tell me this isn't cute. Sit there and tell me this isn't cute. I mean, how dare you? You cannot. Shut up, this is adorable. It's pinkish on the edge. It's variegated. The leaf shape is absolutely adorable. Shut up, you need to get it. Anyways, I'm gonna get the ones that I got from Carolina. I have, I think, 1 or 2 that I'm particularly jealous that I didn't get for myself. I don't know why. This one is actually not rare. It's Rose Bouquet? I almost said baguette. Maybe I'm hungry. It's also a variegated violet, and it looks nice. The flowers are nice. I think it's much nicer when it's a bigger plant, but that's not the one that I'm jealous of. It was just there, so I grabbed it. This one. Oh, I need to get my phone so I can translate this. This is Ivory Coast. That's the name of this violet. Look at the size of the cup. Look at the size of the plant. Love it. Cannot stress enough how much I love miniature violets. They're super tiny. And look at that variegation. I mean, I'm actually very happy that this is the one that I have for myself, because, like, let's compare the two. We can all agree the one for me, which is this one, is much cuter than this one. They're both very cute, and I need to get some really nice pots, I think. I need some really nice pots for these smaller violets. I'm going to cherish them, and I'm probably gonna get more. I know violets are not particularly popular, but I'm gonna make it my mission. I'm gonna sprinkle a violet here and there, and I'm gonna get you hooked. That's my next plan. My next evil plan is to get you hooked on African violets. So, be prepared. Moving from the violets, I wanted to mention some Hoyas that are about to bloom and I'm very excited about. First of them is my Hoya pubicorolla 1011. It's been a long time. I think I've had this plant since 2020, so 2 years to get it to bloom. I think you can do it under 2 years. I think year and something, maybe year and a half. But it's about to bloom, and the flowers are taking their sweet time, but that's okay. I cannot wait I'm just gonna tell you now, I'm very excited to see the very dark flower this Hoya makes, this Hoya has. I will definitely be making a video, even if I don't research anything about Hoya pubicorolla. I'm going to make a video. I'm just gonna talk how gorgeous the flower is. Next one that is about to bloom is Hoya species affinity Lambi. I got this in November, I think, of 2021, and it's already blooming, and this is its second attempt. The first attempt, it wanted to bloom very early on, and I underwatered it, so the buds fell off. Don't do that. But now they have grown, and I think if I don't forget to water it, everything should be fine. My Hoya provence is also taking a long time to open those flowers, hopefully soon. My Hoya finlaysoni nova, I will insert some photos. It was in bloom. It is lovely. I did not record a video in time to show you the plant in bloom, but the smell is wonderful. Carolina told me, because this is a cutting from her mother plant, that in her house she cannot detect any smell. But for me, I'm 100% sure it smells like mixture of lemon and ginger. 100%. It was very strong. It was a very strong smell. Borderline, I think, unpleasant. Like, my sinuses were kind of wanting to beat me up a bit. So I had to... It's in my Rodsta cabinet now, which is also a new addition to the Miro's Hoya room. And I will talk about that in some other video. Not this one, because we need to wrap things up here, I think. My variegated Hoya hirschkeliana is about to bloom. Hoya David Kominki bloomed in April. I see that my Hoya subquintupla nervus is about to bloom. And another one up there is about to bloom. I don't know the ID from here. I think it's possibly Benguetensis. Anyways, I think it's time to wrap up this video. Seems I finally ran out of things to say. Who knew it was possible? And I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, I'm sorry that this hasn't been the Hoya propagation video that you expected. It's actually not Hoya propagation video whatsoever. But I will make that because, once again, I really want to make it. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It's not a thumb. And don't forget to leave a comment down below and let me know which of these Hoyas that I showed to you today is your favorite. I'm going to tell you my favorite is Hoya Lee. Second favorite, I would say Hoya walliniana. I think, or species affinity walliniana, and then multifloras, I think. No, burmanica. Oh, I forgot about burmanica. Anyways, thank you for watching. I will see you very soon. Have a wonderful day, and pray for my glasses. Pray for my glasses. That's it. Goodbye. I would like to take some time to thank my patrons. A massive shout out to my $5 patrons. My 2 anonymous patrons, Alex of the 7 Hills, or so he says, Ann Margit Moen, Aurelise, Betsy Begonia, Bonnie Harris, Carrie, Cynthia Taylor, Danube Daniels, Estelle Farah, Houseplant Heather, Hoya Heather, Chucks. That's not how you say it, Miro, it's Jacques. Jacques Plant Journey, Kelso, Kristen Sherwood, Mars B, Martina, Alif Perday, Melissa Walker, Nicole Ferranti, Nicole and Caleb of Schlieve Tropicals, PJ, Plans by Misha, Rachel Colette Conroy, Robin L. Jennings, Sherry Kumar, Stephanie H2O, Spinach Geek, Tanya TJWO, Vicky Dingler, Vojta Takat, Wendy Foreman, and Slokobnipani. Also, a big thank you to my $3 patrons: AMP, Angelina Farnan, Brianna Phillips, Catherine G, Kilone, Claudia L, David Kandia, Jerry's Garden, Lisa Helling, Lori Murphy, Morgan Kennedy, Morgana Devina, Nella, Nerdy Kathy, Nikki, Plantolania, Ringlo, Ruby, and Shayla Mason Casper. And a thank you to my $1 patrons: Brandon Pacheco, Caroline, Carey, Erin Keenan, Lauren M, Marissa, Paula Plants, and Tangwatanas Riakul. Thank you all so much for incredible support, even when I delete my footage, which is indeed very unfortunate. I hope you're having a wonderful day, I hope you're all safe, and I will see you very soon, if I don't delete the video again.